Welcome. You're listening to
Off the Page.
Hey Michelle.
Hi, Sewon.
How are you? Happy Seollal.
Happy Seollal.
Even though it's over. By the way, if you would like to jump straight to our book discussion, you can refer to our timestamp on description. But why wouldn't you listen to our 잡담? Isn't that fun enough? I'm a little bit 서운해. Why would you want to jump straight to our book discussion? You find our 잡담 boring? Okay. Understandable, but then, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, you can refer to our description under our video, and there's a time code. It's a timestamp that we could, you could refer to. Yeah, sad, but yeah.
Please listen to our
I get it.
잡담. So Sewon don't get 서운해 over you guys.
No, it's totally fine. I'm fine. Like, anyways, how was your 설날?
Well, I just, I went to my hometown. My hometown is in Gyeongsang, and I spent time with my parents. And honestly, I mostly just ate, slept, and rested. And then ate, slept, rested. And that was all I did, like, during the whole holiday season, I think.
Well, it's a pity that I haven't visited Gyeongsang. Like, can you give us a detail about how it is like to live in Gyeongsang, or?
First of all, I think Gyeongsang is a very peaceful city. And also, actually, it is some kind of a bad town of Daegu. Since the city is right next to Daegu,
So it's 경상북도, right?
Yeah.
경북 경산.
Yeah, 경북
Yeah.
Gyeongsang. Actually, there are many things to tell you about Gyeongsang because it is kind of a very, I don't know, like people call Daejeon as 노잼 city, but I think Gyeongsang is more 노잼 because like.
Why so?
Because like there aren't many tourist spots in the city.
Oh.
And also, like, is this basically some kind of like just a peaceful city with very quiet people? I think.
Well, Gyeongsang doesn't even have one of those 절, one of those temples. You know, in Korea, like you happen to have at least one or two 절s at every place, right?
I see.
At every region.
I think there must be some temples in the city though, but Gyeongsang is also next to Cheongdo-gun in Gyeongsangbuk-do. And there is a very famous
that's why.
temple in Cheongdo. It is called Umunsa, and it is it is a 비구니 절, which means that there are only female monks in that temple. And since Gyeongsang and Cheongdo are very close to each other, I think Daegu or Gyeongsang people go to Umunsa to visit temple, I think.
And I know that you visited Cheongdo because we were talking to each other on Kakao Talk.
Yeah, we did.
And you told me that you're visiting Cheongdo. So is it your like a usual thing whenever you go visit your parents' house?
Yeah, in Cheongdo, I think there are many cafes with great view. Like
That's why.
you can see mountains or reservoirs or rivers, like sitting in a cafe through a very wide windows. And my mom and I both really love coffee, so like it is kind of our routine when I go to my home in Gyeongsang and to go to Cheongdo, like for visiting very big bakery cafes with nice view.
All right. So I am curious about how your dad thought about our podcast.
Yeah.
Have you told him?
Yeah, I told him during this whole holiday. And first of all, like, he was kind of surprised because we are doing it in English. Actually, he was expecting some kind of things like we are doing this podcast because like we need to study or improve our English. I think it is because he was a school teacher, like, and he was teaching English. But I told him it is not. We are just doing this for fun. And he told me that you seems to be a very receptive person because like even when I'm like telling you something that is not aligned with what you are thinking, but like he thought that you are still very kind of generous and also kind of very very much like you are all ear to what I'm saying.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Daddy. 감사합니다.
And also I was kind of surprised, like I'm kind of embarrassed to mention this by I've heard from many people that my voice is different when I'm speaking in English. And actually many people complimented about my voice.
Yeah, my dad complimented about your voice as well.
And my dad
And
also
he was like-
complimented about my voice as well.
그러니까요. My dad was like, 같이 하시는 분 목소리 되게 좋다. I was like, yeah.
So like it really surprises me because I've never heard in that compliment when I'm speaking in Korean.
So your voice becomes different
I
when you
think
speak
so.
other languages.
Even though I cannot sense it.
That's cool. I think that's cool. Great. Like these days, like I am enjoying like getting comments from people who's listening to our podcast. And this morning, Juyeon, I think I can shout out her name. I think it will be okay. Juyeon approached me and told me that she accidentally found out about our podcast because our mutual friends are following
Our Instagram.
our Instagram and she thought it was something that everybody listens to. Like she thought it was something very hot, podcast about books. 그래서 I was like, 아닌데. But then she found out that it's us doing the podcast. So like she said she really enjoyed listening to it, and she now wants to visit Buyeon and Cheongju.
Wow.
So that's a success. That's a small success, I could say.
You are successfully like promoting Cheongju
Yeah.
and Buyeon
Buyeon.
to all our listeners, I think, including me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, Juyeon also approached me as well in the afternoon.
Oh yeah?
Like she also told me that she thought that our podcast is something professional, maybe. And she told me that it was because of the artwork.
Oh, 감사합니다 to your friend.
Yeah,
again.
yeah. And I have to thank my friend, actually.
Well, I was expecting like you talked to me over Kakao Talk
Yeah.
during Seollal, right? And you were like, "Oh, there's a present for both of us," and I was like, "뭐지?" And then you gave me this really fancy picture of a cat reading a book. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, could you explain how that came about?
And like there is one of my friends, and like she works in the designing field, and she saw our Instagram account, and she wanted she told me that.
And she thought it's shitty.
No,
얘네
it
illustration is
This
shitty.
is not what she said. Come on.
Anyways, I'm just kidding.
She told me that like when her friends are doing some projects, like even if it's very personal and even if it is not directly related to her, still she wants to give her friends the best she can give to like so that her friend's project can be seen in more artistic way or like in more professional way. She wanted it. So like since she's been listening to our podcast and she's been enjoying it, she wanted to like give us some gift, and that is all the all the amazing set of designs for this podcast.
감사합니다.
And all our profile images across platforms, like our video thumbnails and even our Instagram feed visuals are all thanks to her, actually. And I just wanted to say huge thank you to her.
Yeah. A huge shout out to your friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. I initially thought, like, I actually thought our initial, like, our first illustration is good enough.
Yeah, I also.
But then right after I saw your friend's version, I immediately thought, AI cannot beat humans yet.
Yeah.
Not just yet. Oh, so I was so impressed.
Yeah, and also like she picked out the colors from our original image. So like we can like keep the tone of our show. And she was doing all that 배려 for us, and I was
so
really
sweet of
grateful.
her. Thank you. Thank you very much.
By the way, how did you spend your holiday?
Me, I told you that I was traveling Masan,
Yeah,
right?
you told me.
As for myself, I don't want to go into details, but then I haven't visited my parents' house, my grandparents' house in a very long time, whether it's a holiday or not. Especially for my dad's side, I think it's been more than 20 years that I haven't visited them. And as of last year, January, my grandmother from my mother's side, my 외할머니 passed away. So I don't have any grandparents alive. Like none of them are here with me. So which makes a lot easier for all our family members to travel around
During the
Korea.
holidays.
And our number one rule of traveling within Korea is we never visit 관광지. And like if you remember last year May was a big thing for all the 직장인s in Korea because we could use up all the holidays, right? Do you remember? It was like we could have like a 14-day off or a 15-day off.
Like almost 2 weeks.
And my family isn't like the type that we plan ahead. So the time approached and we were talking about where to visit, and it was definitely not Gangneung, it was not Gyeongju, it was not somewhere that people would visit. And we randomly thought of Masan. And it turns out that none of them visited Masan before in their life. We went there last year, May, and from then on, it's our 4th time visiting Masan.
First time visit.
We visited like 3 times last year in total, consecutively. And then we visited Masan again during Seollal this year. So it's our 4th time visiting. And we, obviously really love visiting Masan. Because it's it's not a touristy place, so we get to feel the vibe of a Masan 시민. You know, it's a peaceful. It's nothing special to see there or visit, but then we get to feel the vibe of a Masan 시민. You know, it's very peaceful, and we get to walk around the parks, and there's good food, and the price is relatively affordable compared to like the foods in other cities, especially in Seoul. It's crazy. So we had 회, we had 고기, and we visited, 시장. And one of the things I really like about visiting Gyeongnam area is that, Gyeongbuk as well, because I found some of the shops in Daegu as well. And I'm not sure if you know it or not, but then it turns out like Gyeongsang places, they eat a thing called 콩국.
콩국, yeah.
If you know
I
what
really love that.
I love it because, I used to live in China, right?
Yeah.
And 콩국 is their typical 조식.
Oh.
It's their typical breakfast in China. And I actually did a little research of why Gyeongsang places have 콩국. And it turns out that it's originated from China. It turns out like the hwagyo in Gyeongsang places, brought in like 콩국. It's not a common thing in Seoul area.
Yeah.
So I never had a chance to have it when I came back from China. And then I realized that Gyeongsang places, they have 콩국, which is very similar to doujiang in China. So I ended up having like 4 times.
4 times.
In 2 days.
In 2 days?
In 2 days. It's a really healthy breakfast, don't you think?
Yeah, true. And also, like, it is very easy to digest. And it also warms your stomach, your body. And I really love that. So, like...
And it lasts till lunch, right?
Yeah.
It's quite heavy. And, like, compared to 콩국 in China, 콩국 in Gyeongsang-do is relatively thicker.
Oh, really?
Relatively, like, viscosity-wise, it's thicker. And the 꽈배기, right?
Yeah,
the 찹쌀 꽈배기 that we put in 콩국, it's very chewy. Whereas in China, the bread that you put into is relatively, it's got a lot of holes in it. So it's more crunchy and it soaks up all the 콩국, right?
Oh.
Whereas in Gyeongsang, Gyeongsangdo 콩국, it's very chewy itself because it's 찹쌀, right?
Yeah.
It's made of sticky rice, so it doesn't really soak up, but then it's very nice to chew while drinking it. That's the difference. But then I still like Gyeongsangdo 콩국. I love Masan. Yeah, that was my 설날 overall. Should we now talk about our book?
Yeah, I think so.
So the title of our book for this week is 안녕이라 그랬어 by 김혜란. Turns out that it's been 8 years since her last 소설집, the short story collection, this book, 안녕이라 그랬어. And when you mentioned it about this book, I was very thrilled because I had a really good time reading her short story collection called 비행운, which was published in 2012.
Yeah, I remember.
And I could totally resonate with you saying that you nearly cried while reading the short stories. I wanted you to tell me like which episode was the one that teared you up.
There were 2 short stories that made me cry.
Or maybe we could go like story by episode.
Oh yeah.
Do you
we
want to
can
do that?
I think.
Yeah. But by the way, like could you give me a short description of this like
Whole book?
collection?
Whole collection. Okay. Well, 안녕이라 그랬어. It's a short story collection published last year by 김혜란, which is a very renowned author in Korea.
She is.
And I think it received a lot of attention because, like as Sewon mentioned, it was her first short story collections in 8 years, and following her well-known book 밭 같은 여름. And since like she's especially known for writing really strong short stories in Korea, so like I think there were high expectations around this book, and I think she 기대를 저버리지 않는. I think. So the book includes 7 stories in total, and and as I briefly mentioned in last week's episode, they all revolve around themes like class in the era of neoliberalism and the idea of space, I think. The physical and social spaces that individuals occupy and move through in their lives. And have you heard of this 신조어? 계급통 or 서민통? Have you heard of that, Sewon?
But the 통 is pain?
Yeah, pain.
So it's class pain?
Yeah.
The status pain? What does it mean?
It basically means the like sense of deprivation you feel because of structural inequality. For example, like I'm hurt. Like when you say, I think people usually say it by like 계급통 와 or 나 지금 서민통 와 in that way.
In what context though?
I mean, like for example, like when people are like seeing some kind of nepo babies. Or like people use this term when they see things like for example, famous 국회의원s buy very expensive real estate or property. And it goes like it is covered through the news reportage. Then people say things like that.
계급통 온다.
And this book reminded of me like regarding that memes, I think.
Oh, that I didn't know. Well, for me, what when you first introduced me about this book about how it's really about neoliberalism and about space and like it's basically about money and human beings, right? And I immediately thought of an architect, the Korean architect Yoo Hyun-jun. On his YouTube, I think he said something like the future is going to be whether or not you own an offline space or not, if you get what I mean. So like according to him, the rich are trying to get as much as offline spaces as possible. Whereas, for those who relatively don't have enough assets, they tend to spend more time online.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So, and he said, he argued that this is the reason why we need public parks or public libraries or all those public spaces, because people definitely, like, otherwise people can't really afford all these, literal offline spaces.
Yeah, I agree to that. And that story can be like really related to this book, I think.
Yeah. So, yeah, should we go like episode by episode, like story by story?
Okay.
Yeah,
the
sure.
first one is
Home party.
Home party, yes.
Okay, home party. What do you think about that? Well, for me, like the very first line, when I read the very first paragraph of this story, my immediate reaction is 이런 데는 가면 안 된다. 이런 데 가면 it's 100% 기빨려.
Yeah.
It's going to be like you earn nothing, but like you just lose your energy. I have this, 불안감 while reading the very first paragraph.
Me too.
Yeah. And the talk over the table is horrible.
Yeah, I mean, like when they mention the kids from the orphanage, I think, and the protagonist like objects to what they are saying.
About to give the listeners a brief summary of this story. This protagonist is a middle-aged actress, and she gets a call from her friend to whether or not she's interested in 뭐라 그래야 되지? One of his alumni's home party. And this like alumni, he himself met this group of people from 그런 평생 graduate school, right? 평생 대학원. So which means is it 평생 대학원? I don't think so.
I think it was MBA.
It's a very short-term MBA school thingy that all the 돈 많은 사람들 go to usually to earn a degree. And the main story happens over the table when all these people turns out to be they're well off. Yeah. One of them is one of them is a lawyer, and one of them is a plastic surgeon, and the other one, like, she owns a meditation
center
therapy place, center. And I have no idea what 오대표, the main antagonist, does. But she was the one who invites everybody to her house, right?
Yeah, she did.
And what Michelle refers to about the orphanage and the kids in orphanage is that, like, they start to talk about how kids from those centers, when they become independent, like at the age of 18, they have to move out of the orphanage centers and they have to be independent involuntarily, right? Yeah. And as a 지원금, they happen to get like 500만 원 as a 자립 지원금. And then they criticize or they nearly mock how these kids buy, 명품 bags,
luxury bags
for luxury bags and they spend all the 500만 원 to buy luxury bags. And the protagonist of this story, she fights back by saying that maybe it's because it's the easiest way to hide their status, right? And they have no clue about it.
Yeah, they totally don't get it.
And the overall story goes like that way. They are so well off and they seem like a very heartwarming people, but it turns out they know nothing about what real life is, right? What people go through, what some people go through, right?
And
so
what was impressive to me was that our protagonist like fought with all the people at the party, like by saying like something like protecting the kids from the orphanage. And after that, the protagonist like accidentally like breaks a very vintage dish or cup or something. And then like the 오대표 says that like, oh, everything is fine, like you don't have to worry, and she cleans up. And 오대표 looks at our protagonist in a way that now like you cannot win over us in that way.
Because I forgive you?
Yeah.
So she she's implying that by forgiving you, the protagonist, of breaking my valuable cup, you can't get the victory.
Yeah, you cannot
from us.
Total
I'm the one
victory
who won
over
this
us.
battle.
Yeah.
And like, I really like the ending because the protagonist actually gives in, right?
Yeah.
Like she gives what Oh Dae-pyo wants, right? Oh Dae-pyo wants her victory, and the protagonist realizes that it's no use
Yeah.
to fight back
Yeah.
to her. So she ends up, just give in. Like, but then I really like the way she gives in, She just gives her the line, right? The 정말 좋았어요 line.
Yeah. And I mean, it feels like she is just walking off stage after saying the line. And since she's an actress, like I felt like it is kind of like she is giving in a way that she can do it in her best.
And I really like the way that Oh Dae-pyo, like the protagonist understands that Oh Dae-pyo wants her to be vulnerable or fragile, right? So if you want me to be fragile or vulnerable, I'll do that. I'll play that part. And that's why the line 정말 좋았어요 came in, right? So I thought it was a really good ending.
Yeah, it felt like the protagonist is, even though giving in to Oh Dae-pyo, still it felt like she is striking back to her. So I also really like the ending of this story.
Yeah, great. Anything else you want to comment on this story?
That's all I can say about this short story.
Yeah,
I think.
great. The second one.
숲속의 작은 집. 숲속 작은 집.
This one was really good.
Yeah, I mean, like it was so sharp, and
it was really nice.
Psychological depiction of the protagonist. It was so like cracked, so 너무 예리해요.
And like the protagonist of this story, 주인공 은주, right?
Yeah, 은주. I think.
Her name was 은주, and her husband
지호.
지호. So, would you like to give a brief summary?
I think.
숲속 작은 집?
Would you do it for me, because I've forgotten like details of the story, I think.
Okay. So the protagonist is 은주, the lady, and she's married to a guy whose name is 지호, and it seems like they don't have any kids. They're just two of them.
Two of them.
Only
two.
They go on a trip to, it doesn't really say precisely, but I think they went on a trip somewhere in 동남아시아, right?
Yeah, I think
Southeast
so.
Asia. Somewhere warm and, peaceful and where they can be relaxed and stuff.
I thought it was Vietnam.
Oh, you thought it was Vietnam. I thought it was Thailand or something.
I thought this place is Vietnam because the host of their Airbnb is French man. So I thought so.
Oh, so yeah. You're so smart. Okay, that could be it. So somewhere in 동남아시아, Southeast Asia. So they visit this place and they rented a whole, the mansion or a cottage owned by this European couple. And they have a few encounters with their helpers, right?
Helpers.
Their maids. The protagonist Unju kind of feels like something is off when their room is cleaned.
Yeah.
Like nothing is stolen or nothing is gone, but the way the maids or the helpers prepare their amenities, like how they organize things, is slightly off. And by that feeling, she catches it that, it's better to have a tip. Give them a tip.
Yeah.
For the first few times, the maid wouldn't get the tip on the bedside table. But then, so 은주 고민해 why she's not getting her tip, and she begins to start writing 감사합니다 in the native language, right? And then that's when the helper starts to get her money.
Yeah.
When she's cleaning the room. And this is basically it. But then I really like how, like, the feelings, ideas that happens inside her brain, like inside Eunju's mind, you know?
Yeah.
She 고민해 a lot, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, why is she not getting my tip? Is there a problem? Did I offend her like in any way? And she also has a personal problem with the relationship with her husband, right?
Yeah, true.
Jiho is relatively well off, and it seems like Jiho's upbringing is slightly better
Yeah.
than Eunju's upbringing. So it turns out that and most of the times Jiho is like, just buy it or just leave it, or
Yeah.
you don't have to
You don't
be
have
too
to walk.
picky about
you
it.
can just get a
Mhm,
taxi
I know.
in that way.
Yeah. And Eunju, him doing that kind of stuff, she feels more distant,
Yeah.
and she feels there's a distance between Eunju herself and Jiho, the husband, and she I don't know what to say in English, but she 고민해
A lot.
a lot. Uh-huh. Not only about money, and she cares about, I think she cares a lot about money, but at the same time, she cares about relationship.
True.
Like human to human relationship. And she doesn't want to ruin both, right? She wants to keep her money and she wants to be reasonable, but at the same time, she wants the relationship that she makes with other people to be pleasant.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of 고민 pops up.
Yeah, true. And and I particularly remember one of her 고민s about giving the tips to the maids. It is kind of very tricky for herself as well, because like she writes like thank you note in their native language, like, and very 열심히 쓰잖아요. Like
맞아요.
like she tries to write a thank you note in a very pretty way, I think. In a pretty characters. And
Yeah, she puts a lot of effort to it.
effort to it, and still when she does all that she puts all that effort to write the note because she wants to have a good relationship with the helpers, but still
Yes.
at the same time, when she feels like she does not get enough reaction from the helpers or the enough affection from the helpers, like since they're like they are just tourists and the maids at the house, and it is kind of very like difficult situation to have affections to each other, but still Eunju wants it, like unconsciously wants it, and when she feels like she is not getting it back, she suddenly feels very like anxious and also like kind of frustrated about the
But
fact that
don't you think it's a very natural thing?
yeah,
It's
it
a
is
very normal
natural
thing to
and
do,
normal
right?
For like
It's a very normal reaction.
yeah,
Because most of the times people want the feelings to be reciprocal, right?
yeah,
So I do this much to you, so like I'm not gonna put force into this, but then I expect you to do this much for me, right? 그런 it's all reciprocal. It's not calculative. 그런 건 아니지만 it's not 계산적인 건 아니지만 somehow we expect that to happen, right? And many of the relationships start to crumble when that expectation doesn't meet.
and I think like Eunju is very 서운해 when like she feels like only bigger sum of tip can satisfy the helpers. She feels in that way, I think.
Well, she understands it, but she's also 서운해 at the same time.
And at the same time, I think the problems of relationship with her husband interrupts in here as well, because like her husband, I think Jiho is all the time like, why don't you just give out the money, like bigger sum of money to them, and not writing the thank you note. I think it is just
He's very
inconsiderate, and he thinks that the Eunju's thank you note is just meaningless, I think. He feels in that way, and he even says to his wife. So like kind of feels like Eunju is 서운해 in every way.
I know,
in the house, I think.
But like, I also thought this could be her misunderstanding. You know, like do you remember how she talks about, you know, when she tips big, like the duvet cover is changed, but when she tip small, then the helper only changes the little things, right?
Yeah.
She only changes a little bit of amenities and stuff like that. But then it could be a misunderstanding, and she's thinking too much.
Yeah, I agree, because like
Maybe it was the day that the duvet cover has to be changed, right?
Yeah, totally.
But then even that part of it, you know, thinking too much part of it is also very 비슷해.
You could resonate with Eunju.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Like, I don't really want to go to the last part of this episode because that's the main part that happens, right? Like, Eunju misunderstands something and it turns out it's not. And the way the writer, Kim Hye-ran, you know, depicts that scene is very heartwarming. So yeah, I just want to keep it a secret and let the listeners find out for themselves. And overall, it's a very very good story. I could resonate a lot.
Yeah, and I thought this one was the sharpest one among the 7 stories. I thought the depiction of Eunju's inner mind. I thought it was really sharp.
Great. Should we move on to the next episode?
Yeah. The third
What was it?
episode is 좋은 이웃. It means a good
좋은
neighbor.
이웃.
This one actually made me cry
Why?
because of the part our narrator mentions the time travel conversation with her husband.
Time travel conversation.
Like
What was it about?
the protagonist and her husband talks about time travel when she asked her husband that, like, what will you do if you can travel in time?
집 사는 거.
Yeah.
아요.
I cried in that part, actually.
I think the writer depicted very well about the protagonist's feelings about how she decides not to teach her student again after realizing that the student is moving to a better place.
Yeah, better apartment. Better new apartment.
Better apartment. Better new apartment. I think the writer gives a very good description of human feelings as well. You know, the
true.
jealousy and, like, you know, when you're jealous of something, I think you end up hating yourself at the same time,
Yeah,
right?
true.
Like, for example, like, I am jealous of Michelle being smart, but I at the same time know that she's putting a lot of effort to her smartness. So I feel jealous and I don't like her. I don't like Michelle. I feel bad about her. But at the same time, I hate myself for hating her. And I hate myself not putting enough effort like Michelle does. 그런 feeling. 뭔지 아시죠?
Yeah, I get the feeling. And it's a very common feeling.
I know.
Like, I think I can give a brief summary about this story.
Sure.
In this story, a young couple moves into the apartment upstairs and post a very polite notice on the elevator, apologizing in advance for a month of renovation noise. And what troubles the narrator, and she's our protagonist as well, what troubles the narrator and her husband isn't just the noise itself, I think. There is much more beneath the surface. The couple upstairs bought their apartment while the narrator and her husband are still renting. And they hesitate before there was a real estate boom in 2019 in Korea. And before then, she missed their chance to buy their apartment. And now they live in a space that is technically temporary to them.
So did many people in that time. You know?
True.
A lot of people lost their chance.
And they've even put their place on the market, so strangers constantly come to view their home. Their privacy is invaded. And as Sewon mentioned, at around the same time, the narrator learns that there's a student called Siu, and Siu has been a long-time student of ours, and Siu is moving into a newly built apartment. Actually, I thought that the story among Siu and the narrator was very kind of cruel in some ways.
In what way?
I mean, like,
well, Siu is more of a mature type, right? He's very mature in his age.
I felt like the story is kind of 후벼파 the narrator's oneself, or like she's trying to keep balance between like being nice and like being jealous. She's trying to keep the balance, but like
맞아.
and our author is, 후벼파, that thing.
맞아.
And like Siu had been in a car accident as a child, and he uses a wheelchair, and his parents both work at a traditional market, 시장, and their financial situation was never stable. And I think the narrator always felt sorry for them, sorry for the family, and she actually never raised tuition for Siu, like considering their financial situation, I think.
And she secretly prized that
Yeah.
in herself, right? 나는 I was very generous to you specifically, so like 맞아.
Yeah. So like I thought that like she quietly assumed the family were worse off than she was. So like when the family ended up moving somewhere better than her, she feels very complicated, I think. I think she loves Siu, and she really loves Siu, but still like because of that affection, I think she is like so much complicated, and she does not what she does. I felt like she does not know what to feel at that point.
She wants her student to be below her.
Yeah.
In some way. So that's very complicated. And in some sense, I could understand.
Yeah.
It's a normal thing. It's a normal, natural human feeling, I think. And I think the writer did a very good job in describing the delicate human feeling of, loving somebody, but at the same time judging people.
Yeah. And
yeah.
The feeling that she wants Siu's family to stay in a lower place than hers. And like she's like, after that she's like 뒤통수 맞아. By her own thoughts.
I know. It was a good story. I like this. I like this episode.
I really liked it.
Oh, the next one. Did you
what was the title?
이물감?
이물감?
Do you remember the
I remember. And I thought that this one was the funniest one.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, I thought so.
This is my least favorite.
To frankly speak, me too.
What's the reason?
I thought the protagonist is not very likable person.
But still I can relate to.
Yeah. Still we can relate.
Yeah, I can relate to in some ways. So this is about can I?
Of course.
Yeah. This is a story about middle-aged guy who's recently, I'm not sure it's recent or not, but he's divorced to his wife, and he's living alone, and he's not adapting to his new life. So basically he's not having a good time with his new life, right? He starts, navigating through this social media, and turns out his ex-wife is having some,
yeah.
Like we don't even know it's a sum or not, but then like it's his, he's just guessing. In the later part of the story, by the way, the guy's job is a cook. He's a chef. So the protagonist visits the guy's restaurant and, orders this very spicy food that he cannot really digest. And he just 남겨 all the food. And by 남겨 his food, like he feels as if he's won this fight with this guy by leaving a lot of food and not finishing his food. And like the chef has no idea like who he is or not. He's just a guest to him, right? So he's like, 왜 음식이 마음에 안 드셨나요? Like didn't you like your food? Like, is there a problem? And he goes like, he does this very polite way, right? 괜찮았습니다. Everything was perfect. Thank you. And he leaves, right? And he feels as if won this battle.
Yeah.
that nobody knows. And, like overall, like I'm not saying this is a really good episode as well, but then I just naturally don't like this character because I find him very 찌질해, right?
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Like he's not recently divorced, I think. He divorced in few years ago, and he is still like some kind of stalking on her ex-wife on the Instagram. And I thought that it was kind of creepy.
And this is like, I don't remember, did he have problem with his like money issue?
Oh, I don't think so. Like he was just, I think his financial situation was okay because I think he works at a bank or something. So I think he's financially stable, but still like he is jealous of the chef because the chef seems to be more kind of richer.
Oh, that's where he talks about 그 무슨 내장, right?
Yeah.
What was the thing?
I also
무슨
highlighted
내장인데?
that part. 내장의 관상.
내장의 관상. So like what it means, like what 내장의 관상 means is that, when he first met this guy, like he kind of scans him over, right?
Yeah.
And he thought, he said something like, oh, this guy has a good 내장의 관상, which means that, he's well off.
Yeah.
So his overall and financial status is good enough to have good food overall. So he must have been very rich compared to my situation. And that's where he gets jealous, right?
Yeah. And I personally remember the comment the critic 신영철 wrote in the like very last part of the book. He said about this guy that the protagonist's name was Gite. Even though Gite can win over a battle, still he cannot win over a war. And I thought it was really impressive.
Well, for me, like in this episode, what I didn't really like about him is not about like the way he stalks his ex-wife or anything, but also like not only about that, but also like, how I think he's like in his 40s, right? His age-wise is in his 40s, and like how the writer depicts like the people in their 40s are having trouble with digestion, right? And to be really honest, like I'm going near to that age. So yeah. like reading Gite's situation made me imagine my future. 나도 이렇게 되겠구나. And like, and do you remember how he's jealous of this chef's social media? And like the chef is like, he posted something that it seems like he's very fit, right?
Yeah.
And this chef is very 자기 관리 잘하는 사람. And he doesn't even really like that, right? He hates about him, being 상의탈이 and like taking, showing off his body and like his physique. And he hates that, right?
Yeah.
And, it kind of made me feel like, 나도 관리 안 하면 like I might end up like Gite.
No.
Digestion wise and like the future wise, I think it's doomed if I don't do 자기 관리. And I think I kind of felt like 위기.
Oh, no.
And that's one of the reasons. And that's one of the reasons why I didn't really like this episode, because it's more like a forecast to me. This episode.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I like at some point
anyways.
I was feeling in the like very similar way to you, because I also have digestion problem myself. So I was just imagining me in my 40s and having digestion problem like Gite, and it would be very embarrassing and also very frustrating.
짜증나.
Yeah. I mean, doing all the trim like in
birds.
front of all the colleagues, younger colleagues, that would be very embarrassing. And like while reading all the way, at some point I felt like, wow, it would be kind of difficult to be in like him.
I know it's not like he wants to do it, like it comes naturally, right?
Yeah.
The burping and like those kind of 노화 consequences.
And I also thought that this episode was really funny because, like, do you remember when Kite said to his ex-wife when they were in a like early stage of their relationship, saying something like he kicked the cherry blossom tree.
Oh, 맞아.
And like his ex-wife was surprised and she was like, well, why are you doing that? And Kite was like, I want you to have some kind of a flower rain all over you.
Cherry blossom rain.
Yeah, and it gave me cringe.
There was a time when Kite was cool and young. But it's all past. It's all gone. Now he's in his 40s burping. Without intention. 어떡하면 좋아. Anyways.
Yeah, shall we move on to the next episode?
Yeah.
안녕이라 그랬어.
Oh, lemon cake.
Lemon cake. Yeah, I forgot that one.
Oh, you didn't like this one?
To be honest, it did not leave much impression on me.
Well, why not? Why not? Because I cried.
Oh, really?
While reading this episode. Because it's about a lady in my age. I think I automatically thought that this protagonist is somewhere like similar to my age age range, and it's a story about a daughter and a mother, right?
Oh.
And then it seems like the protagonist lives in the city and the mother lives in the suburb area relatively. So the mother visits regularly for her checkups. The lemon cake, this episode talks about a very specific day. Like she's a owner of a bookstore, independent bookstore. And this was the day that her mother visits her for her checkup. And at the same time, that was the day that her bookstore was the first anniversary. And therefore, like she was supposed to have a book talk with this author that she really loves. And she's very excited for it. And the story, it ends up, she's not treating her mom nicely and she's very guilty about it. And at the same time, the book talk canceled. So she's just having her time alone at her bookstore eating lemon cake. And that's the basic story about it. And well, no, I just cried because I just thought that the protagonist is about my age. And like the way the mother texts to her and like she's like the most of the times the daughter is very like complaining and whiny and like she's not very nice to her mother, right? And even though she's like that way, the mother has no choice but to rely on her daughter because the technology and all the situational things that happen in the cities, like she cannot cope it by herself. Like she cannot deal with it by herself. So like whether she likes it or not, like she has to lean on to her daughter. And just me like reading that was quite 슬펐어요. Like the protagonist was me and the mother was my mother, and like like it's all happening to all the daughters and mothers. So yeah, I think it's 되게 딱해. Yeah.
It was true when I said that I couldn't remember the impression of the story to me. But after listening to what you said to me, now I remember all the context and the details of the story. Actually, I was really stressed out reading this story because I also felt that this might be in someday in the future. This can happen between my mom and me. And I was really sad about it, and not just sad, I was just very stressed. I didn't want to face this kind of situation. So I think I just deleted this part of the story. I mean the mom and daughter story, and all I remember was that the part about the writer book talk thing. And I thought it was kind of I personally not very much into stories about authors or writers.
But she's a bookstore owner.
Yeah, but still, like, and I also really don't like the, very stories
like those
about bookstores or those kind of things.
Why? Are you traumatized?
No. I'm just, I'm not very much interested in that part, I think.
Oh, okay.
So I only remember that part,
yeah.
and that was why I thought this lemon cake story was kind of not very impressive. Now I remember all the things.
But I just want to ask, like, have you ever come across any situation like that before? Like your parents having problems, having issues with, dealing with modern day technology or modern day, city situations? Because like, for example, like my parents, like, by the way, I'm the youngest in the family and there's a 5-year age gap between my sister and I. And my parents are like nearly in their 70s right now.
Yeah.
Like almost 70s, in their 70s. And like, for example, my parents still like, press buttons on screens with the same force they would use for physical buttons, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, I get it.
그래서 너무 꾹 눌러요. On touch screens, you have to put your finger slightly, but then they are used to more physical buttons. So they 꾹 누르는 거예요. So they often struggle with operating these, new gadgets, like the kiosk, those kind of gadgets. So, and for me, watching them, having difficulty using those gadgets makes me feel very, I don't know how to say, complicated. Like I have a very mixed feelings. At the same time, like very 답답해, but then at the same time, very 안타까워, right?
Yeah.
And those kind of things like happen more often to me these days. And like, do you remember when we were talking over Kakao Talk? I told you that I was driving, right? I was typing, but I was using my navigation on the app on my handphone, on my cell phone. So what I did was while I was driving, I need to, close my Kakao Talk screen and change it into my navigation, right? And my dad was sitting on the 보조석, like I don't know what 보조석 is in English, but anyways, he was actually sitting next to me and I was asking him to, just swipe the screen and, change it back to navigation. And, I could sense that he's got no clue. 어떻게 하는지를 모르는 거예요.
Yeah.
So like he kind of stumbles upon, 뭐 눌러 and I keep telling him 아래 버튼, on your left,
Yeah.
the button on the left bottom. And, he struggles. I end up doing swiping screens
By
to
yourself.
go back to the navigation app. But, the way I do it is kind of 쌀쌀 맞아.
Yeah,
Do you get what I mean?
yeah, I get it.
그래서 like I immediately 후회해. I immediately regret, doing that gesture. But then I couldn't help it because I was kind of 답답해 at the same time.
Yeah.
Because, I was driving,
Yeah.
right? And I need to switch it back because Masan is not a familiar place for me. So I needed that navigation app to be seen so that I don't make any trouble. 그래서 I was the gesture I did was a little bit 쌀쌀 맞아 and I regretted it immediately, but then that kind of things happen often. So like what I wanted to say was the lemon cake episode, the lemon cake story reminded me of my relationship with my parents. So
Yeah, I can also come up with my, recent memories of my mother struggling over all the technologies.
I know,
And I'm really kind of sad. And I'm also really kind of angry about myself not being very nice or sweet to my mom and dad. And I totally agree with what you said that like about immediately regretting what you said. Ah.
very sad and frustrating.
Yeah.
Hey.
Ah.
Yeah, so that was lemon cake.
Yep.
And eventually, finally, 안녕이라 그랬어.
Yeah, it is 표제작.
Yeah, 표제작. What is 표제작 in title? Title of the collection? I don't know.
Yeah. A title story in the collection. Title story. And did you like the story?
It's not my favorite, but I could understand why it's a 표제작 in this collection. Because I instantly thought of different short story by 김혜란. It's from 비행운. I really like the short story, and its name was like 그때 여름이. I'm sorry.
Yes.
그곳의 밤 여기의 노래. In 비행운. And it's about a story of a taxi driver who marries to this Chinese lady. And it's a sad story, but like in the middle of the story, like the taxi driver who is Korean, like he learns Chinese. He tries to learn basic Chinese, but ends up, thinking that they would move to China and live there happily. It never happens anyway. But like I really like the way Kim Hye-ran uses foreign language as a method to portray the relationship of two characters and how like the foreign language could actually make themselves far apart, but at the same time, how the foreign language could make them more closer, make them feel more closer, right? And I think this 안녕이라 그랬어 is similar to it.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
But I asked ChatGPT to translate this title, 안녕이라 그랬어, and like I don't think ChatGPT gets it.
You mean like it cannot translate the title in a proper
Correctly.
way.
Like the ChatGPT translated as "Hello, this is me." 근데 이건 아니잖아요.
Yeah, it is
this
not.
is totally different.
Yeah.
Like it's a wrong translation. But if I were to be a translator, I still don't know how I would, translate this. Because 안녕 here is
안녕.
goodbye.
Yeah, goodbye.
It's more about 안녕 than hi, right?
Yeah. And I think it should be just 안녕, like written in English.
Like something like, he said 안녕.
Yeah, something like that. Because like there is a part when our protagonist explains the meaning of the Korean word 안녕 to her
안녕.
English tutor, and she also says that like 안녕 has a lot of meanings, like a lot of different meanings to Korean people. And it was like, even though we are very much familiar with this word 안녕, I was kind of it felt very new to me to explain the word in that way. Like the protagonist said that like the English tutor asked the protagonist that, so like if Koreans are saying 안녕, then how can they figure out the meaning of the word?
How could they figure out the nuance?
Yeah.
Like how would they know it's a bye or a hi?
Yeah. And the protagonist said that just like you can just feel it.
You just know it. Yeah, you just know it by context.
So like I never thought in that way. So like it was kind of interesting to me. Frankly speaking, I don't know. Like I think it is because of my personal taste of literature.
This is your least favorite?
Yeah, I think so. Like
Oh, I see. I could see that. Yeah.
I think I like more kind of a very cruel stories. I think.
I don't think it's necessary to give out a summary of this episode.
You mean
Since this
안녕이라
is a
그랬어?
표제작?
Yeah. I don't think
Yeah.
so.
I think this is enough. But I like the story, even though it's not your favorite. And like I could see why it's a title of this short collection.
And what I thought about this episode was that the story was very well structured, and I thought that was why this work was the title story. It is well balanced.
I think one of the reasons why I also like this story is about I think this plot is somewhat similar to the lemon cake episode because all like at the same time, like the protagonist is a lady who has to take care of her mother who is in a sick bed, right? In her sick bed. Yeah. Should we move on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now
All right.
we are meeting the very
Is
last
it-
story of this book.
빗방울처럼.
Yeah, like Raindrops.
By the way, can I make one last note about 안녕이라 그랬어?
Of
story?
course.
I really liked the part. I think 신영철 also mentions this on his 평론 or whatever. There is a line. Let me just read out the line and have it translated in English because I already made the preparation. There is a line that says 물론 외국어로 말할 때 장점도 있었다. 체지방을 줄인 담백한 몸처럼 한정된 어휘가 만드는 문장만의 매력이 있었으니까. 체지방을 줄인 담백한 몸. That line.
Yeah.
In English, it goes something like, of course, there were advantages to speaking in a foreign language, like a body stripped with excess fat. Sentences shaped by limited vocabulary had a certain lean charm of their own. I think this is the reason why I like speaking in a foreign language.
Yeah. And actually,
I think
that
there's a charm
sentence
to it.
reminded me of what you said in the pilot episode, that why we are doing this podcast in English.
Like, even though we are not fluent to this language, I sometimes feel like I have this 강박 of me, like I have this 강박 that I have to speak Korean really well, or I have to write it in a very 고급진 way.
Yeah,
So I have this 부담감 when I speak Korean. So it's not about I speak fluently or not. It's more of I think I have a 부담감 when I speak Korean, because it's me, like I speak it relatively fluently, right? So I ended up, thinking too much of how it is put out. So I ended up, messing up, and I think too much of, what other people say about me explaining things in Korean. But when it is out in English, well, still we have to be careful, but then, everybody knows that it's a foreign language, and therefore I get to talk about things in a more straightforward way. And I think this is depicted well in 체지방을 줄인 담백한 몸. I think there's a charm to it.
Yeah.
And that was very,
Yeah, the depiction was really great. Like,
that I wanted to mention. We can move on. So the last episode, 빗방울처럼. After reading this episode, I realized that I read it somewhere before this book was published.
Yeah, I think this
I don't
was
remember where.
published in some kind of literary magazine before.
Oh, I think so, because I remember reading it somewhere and really liked it.
Yeah, actually, this one, along with 좋은 이웃, The Good Neighbor, this story left the strongest impression on me.
맞아요.
And
This one is really nice.
like when I was reading 좋은 이웃, The Good Neighbor, I just had the tears over my eyes. And when when I was reading 빗방울처럼, I was like just crying all over. Even though I was on a bus.
Oh, because like the protagonist situation is most tragic, I think. Would you like to give a
summary of this story?
Yeah. Since you liked it so much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Our narrator's name is Jisoo. Jisoo, I will just get to the point. Jisoo believes her husband died because of her. He had been working as a substitute driver, which is 대리운전 기사 in Korean, after they fell victim to a 전세 rental scam. And it was Jisoo who persuaded him to move into the apartment that ultimately led to the fraud. That is what she's thinking. And even during the funeral of her husband, Jisoo's mother-in-law never once held her hand. And I think it only deepens Jisoo's guilt, I think. And I thought that and here comes a foreign worker, and I think she's Filipinese. There was some kind of a mention that she speaks Tagalog, and she came to Jisoo's house because Jisoo needs to renovate her ceiling.
Yes.
Because there was a water leaking on the ceiling, and this foreign worker has to fix it. And Jisoo is actually thinking of committing a suicide after renovating this house.
Right.
Because she is feeling so much guilt over her husband's death. And actually, this foreign worker, for the first time after Jisoo's husband's death, she asked Jisoo a very simple question. It is in Korean, 무슨 일이 있었습니까? And it can be translated as, what happened? In English, I think.
And 무슨 일이 있었습니까? The way she puts it is very
polite.
Polite and indifferent in some ways, right?
Yeah, indifferent and also very it is a very well-organized sentence that Koreans won't use that sentence in that way, I think.
It's kind of 기계적이야, right?
Yeah.
It's quite robotic, I think.
Yeah, and I think it happens because it is not her mother tongue, the foreign worker's mother tongue. But still, like, the important thing was that nobody asked Jisoo that what is happening with her, what she's been going through. And it was the very first time that she was asked that question. And basically that simple question led Jisoo from death to life, I think. Well, you know that 전세 rental scam appear very frequently on the news in Korea?
Yes.
And yet at the same time, I think people often imply that victims were careless or naive.
Or stupid.
Yeah. And what happened to Jisoo is, in some ways, a very common tragedy in contemporary Korea. And yet, I think precisely because it is very common, many people treat it as something distant, I think. Something that cannot be their problem. People usually draw a line between themselves and the victims and reassuring themselves that they are safe on the other side of that crime. And I think that as that line hardens, no one offered Jisoo real consolation or comfort, I think.
And like, you know, the 무슨 일이 있었습니까 line, like she does it, like the foreign worker does it unintentionally, right?
Yeah.
Like she has no idea that how this line would feel to the protagonist.
Yeah, actually, I think the worker was just asking about the ceiling, I think.
Yes, I thought so too. And like I really like the way she also unintentionally make the protagonist laugh by, you know, throwing a joke about, you know, 그 뭐였지? 그 무자식이 상팔자지요. Yeah. It's like it turns out that the foreign worker has 2 kids. The protagonist goes like, "Oh, it's very nice for you. It's good for you that you have 2 kids." And the foreign worker replies by saying like 무자식이 상팔자지요. And then like right after they start talking about 한국 속담, right? And the foreign worker shares a 속담 from Cameroon that she learned from her Cameroon friend at her Korean class. It happens that there's a 속담 in Cameroon that goes like 비는 한 집 위에서만 내리는 게 아니다.
Yeah.
근데 that 속담 was very that line was very 적절해. Because it's the water's leaking, right? Yeah. But at the same time, the foreign worker unintentionally, you know, soothing the protagonist's feelings by saying that, you know, rain falls to everybody. It's not just you that goes through the pain or the hardships. You know, the rain happens to everybody. So like she again unintentionally, you know, making her feel better. Yeah. And I really like the conversation, and I really like the writer, you know, puts out all these, you know, conversation in that way, you know. Like everything is unintentional, but at the same time it heals her.
So
yeah,
true.
It was amazing.
Yeah. And I was really sad. I couldn't stop crying while reading this story, because even after the protagonist turns back from death, her path ahead is still very steep and very lonely, maybe. And the fact that she chooses life despite everything she's gone through, it was unbearably sad to me. Like there won't be like instant happy ending or cure for her, and still she's choosing the life over death. That really made me cry.
I thought it was a really good choice to put this episode particularly at the very back of the collection. Yeah.
Because a few years ago, I was talking with a friend about Kim Hye-ran's The Last Work, 박 같은 여름. And my friend said that while the stories were, you know, incredibly sharp and precise, he said that the stories felt too devastating. Like, in the sense that you couldn't really imagine what comes after the story.
So your friend couldn't handle it because it's so devastating?
Yeah, and he thought that the author is, in his words, he thought that the author is in some way irresponsible.
Oh,
because
to that extent?
Because like the author is leaving the characters in these terrible things, terrible situations and depict it so precisely. And the story ends. He felt that it was very like devastating. And I finally read this 빗방울처럼. And I now I felt like, oh, this was really a good choice to put this story at the end of this kind of short story collection. Like we've seen all the, you know, people tragedy, like very common tragedies in the contemporary lives. Now we still have a little kind of a glimmer of hope at this point. So like I really enjoyed the story.
Oh. Have you read 바깥은
Yeah,
영?
I did.
Oh, okay. I haven't yet. Oh.
There is actually there was a story that I also thought that it was too kind of very cruel to the character. There is a story called 가리는 손.
Oh.
And but also I kind of highly recommend it to you.
Okay. Now I'm curious. Okay. Yeah. So overall, it was a good read.
Yeah, true.
And I think the writer portrayed well of how the modern day people are suffering from not just money, but like the things that they come with money, right?
Yeah.
The space wise and the relationship wise. Like money is not just money, right?
Yeah.
Money could give you a lot of things, like a lot of 부속적인 것들, right? 부속의 것들, right? It's not about, I think money is not just about, us buying things or eating things or like buying products. It's more to that, right? And I personally believe that the reason, like the very core reason why many people like to have more money is because, well, it's just my opinion, but the reason why people want more and more money is because in the core part of their heart, I believe that people, the greatest pleasure comes out when they can help others. Money could fix or solve a lot of problems, right? I think a lot of people get a lot of happiness when they are able to help others. And by having a lot of money, it's not only for themselves, but also they can, be the ones that could help the people that they love, right? I think that's where the money's power comes from. I think the writer, again, by depicting all the situations that associated with money, I think she ultimately wanted to explain our relationship.
Yeah.
Like we still want to have a very good relationships with the loved ones, right?
Yeah.
And yet a lot of times money gets in the way. And that's where we become kind of 짜쳐, right?
Yeah.
Money gets in the way and we become very 쪼잔해, we become very 찌질해, and we become very 짜쳐, right? And I think all of us hate that part of us, right? And I think she did a very good job in portraying that, in every situation and throughout the whole episodes. So overall, it's a really good read.
Yeah. And I kind of finally mentioned my last impression about the episode 좋은 이웃, because like this, I think this can be related to what you just said. I said that I cried a lot when reading the conversation about the time travel thing between the narrator and her husband. You said that the protagonist was expecting her husband to say that if he could go back in time, he would choose a moment when they might have been able to save the child they lost to miscarriage.
Yes.
But instead he says that he would go back to the point where they could buy their current apartment. And I think that answer really hits harder than the casual joke we make about going back in time to buy SK Hynix stock or property in Gangnam.
Yeah.
I think at that point the narrator really realizes that the husband she thought shared their values may be no longer be the same person as before.
Yeah, right.
And I think what's worse is that she can confidently say that he alone has changed.
Yeah.
She's also slowly and quietly shifting. And I thought that it is like the whole book is about kind of a sense of helplessness.
Yeah.
And the fear of like we are unable to know how far we might change.
Right.
in this society. And that, I think that made all the stories so devastating in some sense.
So both of us agree that 빗방울처럼 is very nice.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a must read. And it seems like your favorite is 좋은 이웃, right?
좋은 이웃?
Apart from
I think so,
빗방울처럼. My favorite is 숲속 작은 집.
Yeah, actually, like if I can pick top 3, 숲속 작은 집 would be my third place one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so we highly recommend you, all the listeners, to grab a book, 안녕이라 그랬어, if there's a chance.
Yeah, we highly recommend this book.
And for the next episode, we randomly chose to read this book like an hour ago. And it's called, it's my choice. It's my selection. And it's called 나는 북경의 택배기사입니다. It's also a recent one. I think it was published somewhere last year, I think.
Oh, yeah. Last
It
July,
was,
I
yeah.
think.
And it was a big hit in China. I didn't finish it yet. Yeah, it's an essay. It's a nonfiction. And it's basically a story about a guy who works as a 택배기사 in Beijing. And he shares his story about how his life is living as a 택배기사. And I thought it would bring out a lot of, takes from both of us as modern day 택배 users. So
Yeah.
we could, yeah. So this is going to be our next book.
Yeah.
나는 북경의 택배기사입니다.
Yep. I'm thrilled
Yeah.
to read this one.
Hopefully both of us enjoy talking about this book. So that's it for this week. And thank you for listening. And yeah, we'll see you next week.
See you next
Bye-bye.
week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.